Joffrey, Renly, Robb Stark are all thieves. They'll bend the knee or I'll destroy them.
Wars are a profitable occurrence, Garth. In times of need, banks deliver what people need, and that, my son, is gold. Garth Goldmark remembered this particular teaching by his father well. Many of his lessons had, through time, turned to reality for Garth. Today was no exception, for he is to speak to the representatives of the houses of Morgoth and Rack, both shareholders in the Andalian Bank, and both seeking the bank's support in their endeavour. House Rack had come first, represented 2 men strong by a certain Master Garth, apparently Castellan of the Hornwood, and accompanying him the young Lord Sunderland of the Bullseye. He knew little about either of those, and the presence of Sunderland surprised him. He could understand why a lord would send a Castellan, but why was Lord Sunderland here? He shrugged it off. He would find out his motives soon enough, he knew. Right at that moment, he stepped out of his office towards the hall where he found his attendees waiting for their audience. "Ah, my lords, may I formally welcome you to the hospitality of our bank?" The Rack steward responded with a formal nod. "You may, but forgive me, my lord, we are short on time. Lord Rack sends his regards, but he is not among the most patient of men. May I suggest we head straight to business and save formalities for later?" Without a look on his face betraying his thoughts, Garth made a quick realization. They were desperate for coin. In his few years as a banker, he had grown in reading people's faces and intentions. This one screamed a poor act of hiding desperation. "Well then, my lords, let's head to business then." He pointed towards the hall. "Please, follow me to my office." His office was a modest room, richly decorated with velvets and ornaments earned through trade, gifts, and shrewd stewardship. His proudest possession being a painting of the bank made by a famous Tyroshi painter. "Please, my lords, seat yourself and make yourselves at home." Garth began. "So, what is it we can do for House Rack?" he asked, while Master Garth and Lord Sunderland took their places on the comfortable chairs with exotic cushions. Sunderland spoke up in praise. "My lord, my compliments on your style. This is quite a way to welcome guests for business." He nodded towards the painting on the wall. "And that over there is quite a work of art." Goldmark gave him a smile. "You like it, my lord? It's Mirish made with the finest dyes there are. But enough of that. You are here for business, my lords, so what can I do for you?" Garth the steward spoke up. "Lord Rack is under threat by a rebelling vassal. House Morgoth is in need of humbling. Any lord should put down an unruly subject if they intend to remain in power. Lord Murrebold has set his mind to do just that, but we need more coin." Lord Sunderland joined in on the accounts. "This is the amount we will be needing to loan. We require mercenaries as well as supplies for the war." "How do you intend to beat the Morgoth forces, my lords? In times of war, most of your house's manpower derives from the Morgoth forces. We are well aware of that. Now those forces are your foes. How do you possibly mean to face this threat?" Goldmark had his doubts and had no intent to hide them from his guests. This time, Lord Sunderland spoke up again. "House Rack has the support of all the Bullseye levies. We intend to use this loan to bribe Maiden's Gate to get the Blue Stars on our side. The Hornwood is well defendable. Garth here was born and bred at the Hornwood. Ask him and he will tell you true. The woods provide a great natural defence. All we need is more good men to fortify ourselves. Once we repel the rebels, it will be our turn to strike back. The Bullseye was granted to me. I don't desire to see that Hooten pretender on my seat." Goldmark heard them out and nodded as he made up his mind. "My lords, the bank will be able to provide, but it won't be without cost. The interest rates for such a loan will be costly. This is the best I can do for you. I won't negotiate its terms." He showed them a parchment. The steward and Lord Sunderland shared a glance. "Please excuse us for a moment to discuss your offer. We will be back soon with our decision," the steward said begrudgingly. "Well, of course, my lords, I look forward to doing business with you," Goldmark said with a smile on his face. He then proceeded to lead them out of his office. As the Rack representatives were discussing the offer they received, Goldmark was already thinking about the Morgoth audience. The opportunity made him rub his hands together, his mind already dreaming of the gold it would earn him. "I will strike a deal for the Morgoths. They can't refuse. They are the stronger party, and they will surely win their campaign. I will make them pay the debts of House Rack in return for a loan with a low interest. My father had it right. Wars truly are a profitable occurrence. Thank you, Father, for your valuable lessons. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Citadel with me, Grand Maester Stitch, where we return to the Knights of Andalia, where we are so close to victory against the Lannisters of the South. There's not really much Lannister hosts around. There's a 9,000 man army here. Is that 20,000 there? Okay, so there's a few there, but we're literally just repelling the final remnants of their army. I think they're about exhausted now. They've run out of manpower, so if we could just finish off what remains, finally pushing them out of Andalia, we'll have peace. And then we are going to have to do something about the South, try and interfere with Southern politics for the first time. But first, I think we need to finish that conquest of the Northern territories that we need to get control of, so that Andalia can be at its strongest and in peak position. And we're also, of course, going to have to let our armies recover, because even though the Lannisters have lost a lot more manpower than us in this war, we have still suffered a lot of losses. And our treasury is, of course, absolutely exhausted also. Let's move these 20,000 to Blackwood Vale. Let's move these men to Red Fork. There's 13,000 here. Are they going to try and force a crossing? Let's try and entice them, shall we? Let's move this host of 15,000 into High Oak, just so we can try and entice them over into Salt Pans. I think they'll take the bait. They should take the bait, hopefully. Garin Brightmire was slain during a trial by combat. Interesting. And Lady Brightmire also was beheaded on the orders of Lord Theomore of the Grey Cliffs. Oh, okay, so God knows what she did, but didn't go down too well, whatever it was. Bide our time. We'll sit, we'll wait, we'll let them cross. We've got a Rosby host here. Very small Lannister host here retreating. Not much to worry about. I don't think there's any in the north. There's a small Dane fleet. There's 100 Lannister ships there. Okay, so we've got a small Cracklaw Point host trying to siege Sevensport. Not enough manpower to siege Sevensport, but we may as well go and attack them just to get a little bit of war score. It all counts, I suppose. We could march into the God Fort and siege it, but I didn't really want to leave our territory. It looks like there's some sort of rebellion going on in their own lands anyway. We've just cashed in on something. I heard the little ka-ching sound and our gold's gone up slightly. Brandon Umber attempted to imprison Duncan Umber. Duncan the Cruel of the Last River. And Brandon Umber must be the High Lord of the area. Okay. Umbers who should soon finally be part of Andalia. Hopefully. If we're lucky. As well as the Glovers and the Hill Clansmen and many other northern houses, hopefully. And Fates Mars off again? Again? Seriously, Florian? Fair enough. Here we go, let's hope for another son. Okay, we're still sitting at 76. There doesn't seem to be any Lannister host. Harless Seymour died at the age of 49 from too much drinking. He was Lord Enger's son. Lord Enger's still alive at the age of 73. He's doing well. It's his older brother, Pyron the heir. The heir's now 54, which is... Do you know what? If we go down to Harsley, sorry, not Harbert. He's actually got his own son as well now. Jeremy Seymour. That great-grandchild for Enger Seymour? Is that a great-great-grandchild? Oh, wow. Okay. The Lannisters have brought their force north, it would seem. And, oh god, we're going to have to march straight into those now with the 7,000. And we have got a penalty for doing that. Let's get some decent commanders in here. Then let's get Adam Redguard and Brandon Stark to defend the north. I didn't realise it. They'd brought such a big host up north, led by the king himself. So if we can win this, we have got a disadvantage though, which is going to hurt. Hugo Brightlin was slayed by Lord Edrian of the Stony Shore in a duel for honour, leaving Lord Ellis of Blackpool, a 0-year-old Brightlin, in control. So we chose the right lord, as we'd have a High Lord 0-year-old now. So there is another host there. This could be risky. We can't call any manpower up from surrounding areas. Let's just hope that our much better commanders can pull us through in this battle. There is the king, if we could capture him. News from the Battle of Sevenstar, your grace, your bannerman Lord Adam Redguard has been slain. No! He was killed in direct single combat by the enemy commander King Jaime Lannister. Okay, so he can fight. Jaime Lannister can fight. Skilled fighter. Oh, not Adam Redguard. I liked Adam Redguard. His son, Lord Elmo of the Crone's Crossing, is now in control. That is so annoying. Lord Elmo of the Crone's Crossing has inherited the High Lordship. Spears and shields! Spears and shields! Prince Tymos Lannister bellowed astride his chestnut charger as King Jaime Lannister emerged from his tent with the Lord Hand Alvin. I thought we have days, your grace. We are unprepared, the Hand said quietly to the king, not wishing to stir a commotion. Perhaps you are, but I am not. We are but 100 leagues from Sevensport. This is where my dominion over this land begins. Captain Selmos, you take the left. Alvin, our work sits on the edge. This is where we take what is mine, once and for all. Jaime said, his hands clasping onto his Hand's shoulders. What plan do we have? Gods know how they move so quickly from Sevenstar, Alvin said, still trying to fix his sword belt. Just like in Dawn all those years ago, my old friend. You the anvil and I the hammer. We will crush them, suffocate them. Jaime said this so nonchalantly, as if it was not the culmination of all of his life's work. He kicked his horse and rode on to the amassed horde of crimson that sat atop the hill. He began. Men of Westeros, I stand amongst you a man of Westeros, just as you, with one covet. I am the father of this great realm. If that is so, you are all my children. I will fight alongside my children. I will bleed alongside my children. I will die alongside my children. Today could be that day. It matters not to me. But today is a day of birth, not of death. A day of death for them, yes. He pointed Brightroar towards the Andalian host, their spears bristling in a tight formation, horses flanking each side. But for us, this is a day of life. Their deaths will breathe a new life into our kingdom. It will breathe life into a destiny that you will realise, to be the masters of all Westeros. Jaime's speech was broken by the advance of the Andalian host, a screaming amalgamation of savage Northmen and gallant knights. What say you, my children? Shall we clear this rabble? Jaime lifted Brightroar once more and screamed, To life, for Westeros! And the horde rushed past him with Lord Westling at its head, a blur of red. Jaime turned to his son and his contingent of cavalry, a swath of expert noble lancers. Gentlemen, shall we do business? The cavalry turned past the longbows, which were peppering the Andalian knights, and rode due east. Are you sure of this, father? Will we succeed with this once more? Tymos yelled over the hurtling winds. Your lack of faith is disturbing, boy, Jaime said as he kicked his horse onward. They rode fiercely. The din of battle had started and faded by the time they had reached the woods. They pushed through the thick brush and out behind the lines of the Andalians. A sudden panic washed across Jaime's face. Why aren't they in position? Prince Tymos frantically asked. His breathing was heavy. Jaime could smell his fear. We had better force them into position. The hammer moulds the metal, not the anvil. We are the hammer. Jaime formed his men up once more. Tymos, you take the camp, burn everything, take the baggage train, leave none alive. When you have finished, sit by the tree line, wait for my signal. His son gave a begrudging nod and departed with 100 men. I need not waste words on you, Jaime turned to say to his lion pack. He turned once more and spoke gently. Lord Commander Leslin, a bit of music, would you? The experienced Lord Commander lifted a horn and blew. 1,000 more joined and the charge began with the same cry from Jaime. To life, for Westeros. The Andalian host's rear turned and broke into the woods to the east, only to rally once more to a man bearing a sigil with 2 swords, one red and one blue. As Jaime closed in, he thought to himself, the head of the snake, eyeing up the giant of a lord. Manic shouts of life, life, still rang across the wave of crimson, bearing in on the thin lines of spears. They collided and Jaime flew from his horse in the mud, fumbling for his crown, ears ringing. Distant screams were dulled. He finally found his crown. He wiped his eyes and muttered, I am Westeros, and where I walk is Westeros. He rejoined the fray, instantly cleaving one man's leg clean off. and pirouetting from that to pierce one man through his mouth. He yanked the blade out through his cheek, blood everywhere. The lion had been poked, it would seem. Jaime's frenzy continued, a blur of red and gold. He stopped breathless to look for the Lord Hand Standard. They had made progress, eating at the centre. The anvil, Jaime said, allowing himself a moment's respite. And here's the hammer. He grunted, cutting the top half of some brave fool who fancied himself a lion slayer. The tide was turning. We are there. Nothing can halt us now. They are pinned, Jaime exclaimed. Drive them to the forest. He waved his arms ferociously as men clapped beside him towards his son. Timers saw, and torches began to fly and up. And then down, one by one the trees caught alight. Drive them to the tree line, he bellowed again. The Lannister vanguard began to wheel. To the tree line, to victory. Victory was there. Westeros was there. He could taste it. But then one of his conjugant fell, and then another. Northern horses burst from the flames to pin the hammer as it drew back for its final blow, led by some madman with a blue shield divided by a streak of white. Leslin, bring him down! Kill him! Kill him! Leslin swung his morning star and struck the Andalian noble, cleaning his chest, but the tide was turning. The lion pack now had to turn to another threat. The Andalian commander had cut a path through the anvil, away from the flames. Redguard, the king spat like bile, the head of the snake. He took the horse of the fallen Andalian noble and rode, bright raw angled for the commander. Lord Redguard met the eyeline of the king and turned headlong for the sage lion. Both horses began to kick up mud, thick brown mud tinged with red. As they met, caught halfway between death and flame, their blades collided to a deafening crash. Another pass was taken. This time Lord Redguard's horse slipped from beneath him, his leg broken. Jaime saw this and dismounted his stolen charger as Redguard struck the point of his blade through the horse's eye. Jaime spoke. I take it you are responsible for this. Jaime gestured to the masses of dead horses and burnt lancers that had ridden through the fire. I have studied your campaigns in the Reach. That rebellion was nasty business. But do you think I hadn't studied you? Your modesty betrays your grace. Lord Adam Redguard said as he lunged forward and struck downward at the shorter man. The fire is new, however. Nice touch, Adam said, after recklessly swinging once more. I would despise people thinking I'm a boar, Lord Jaime looked at his shield and blurted breathlessly, Lord Redguard. Now Jaime took the offensive, as the two blades clashed again, each man pushing against the other, face to face. Yield now, strike your banners, bend the knee, and I will name you Lord Paramount of the Trident, Jaime said, straining against the younger man. You cannot offer me what you do not hold, Adam said, straining. You have lost, old man. Lost? Jaime said calmly, his eyes locked with his foe. Lost? He shouted, before spinning and cutting across delicately Lord Redguard's stomach. Adam stared up dumbfounded, holding his entrails in his hands as if he could fix his wounds. Valyrian steel, a sword of kings, true kings. We do not lose, he said, short-winded, before unleashing a blow so savage across Lord Redguard's face it became stuck. His eye had vanished, and Jaime stared at the head of the snake triumphantly, in a world of his own, panting. He snapped awake once more. His lungs were beginning to fill with smoke, drifting west from the flames slamming through his senses. He acted on instinct and charged through the thick smog. What he found on the other side was death or dying. Men reaching for legs that weren't there. A horse bolted past him, his mane braided with flames. The battle was over. It was apparent that they were victorious. Lannister spearmen went about dealing with the survivors. Jaime saw a northern footman crawling away. Where go you, friend? Jaime queried, his breath finally regained. The man was crawling south, his hands filling with dirt as he pulled himself forward. Jaime spoke again. You are crawling south. That wind you feel comes from my land. Jaime sped up to meet the gaze of this dying youth. From where do you hail? Jaime said, crouching down. The adolescent looked up with eyes of contempt. Sevensport, he managed, blood spilling forth from his mouth. A healer, quick! Jaime waved his hands quickly. Wash and bind his wounds. What is your name, boy? Willis, The boy struggled once more. Don't strain yourself, Willis. I need you to carry a message to Sevensport, to your home. Jaime got up and walked 10 or so paces to the corpse that was Adam Redguard and wrestled his bloodied shield from the hands and returned to Willis. "Take this with you. Tell your neighbours what you saw, Citadel. Tell them that 15,000 men come marching for their city. They come to claim what is theirs. You tell them that, Willis." Before an answer could be given, Jaime thrust the red and blue swords of House Redguard towards the soldier and moved away. Jaime looked to the north and uttered, "You are my final prize, Florian Sevenstar. Sevensport, your salvation is nigh."
And we suffer our first casualty. Looks like he lost his eye. Ouch. One-eyed. That's a decent commander to lose, though. And that's going to swing the battle definitely in the Lannisters' favour now, isn't it? Which sucks. The Morgoth and the Racks are still fighting up there as well. We're going to have to bring some men home, aren't we? Right, that's 29,000. Let's send 15,000 of those to deal with that. These 15,000 march to the ships. We're going to have to bring you home. We're going to have to bring you home. We need more manpower in the north, and I don't think we can call up any extra manpower from anywhere. What about our new Lord of Belmont? No, only ships. That host has been crushed as well. I can't believe we lost Adam Redguard. That really sucks. Okay. I don't think is there going to be enough manpower to siege down Sevensport? Sevensport is huge. But we have lost that battle. It's our first battle that we've lost in this war, I believe. 15,000 can march on to children. That's fine, because that means that they are now cornered there. We need to get these 15,000 men north as quickly as possible. We do need a new commander as well now, considering that we've lost Adam Redguard, who was a very competent and decent commander. Our son, yeah, let's get Ambrose in the field. Why not? Let's get some experience. Can Florian still not lead hosts himself? Robert Erensaris had chainmail armor added to his treasury. Samuel is no longer master of coin for King Engar. He's died as well. Died of winter fever. My god, the Blackwoods are in a bit of a state, aren't they? How many Blackwoods are left alive? 13 living members, apparently. So look into those properly. We have got our 14,000 men here. Let's embark them on the ship and sail straight for the Father's Ford so that we can get them hopefully safely back home. And we have won that battle, which is good. Puts us back on 76%. Doesn't make too much difference. Let's march these 15,000. Let's just leave them in children. They're safe in children. Yeah, I didn't think they'd have enough men to siege down Sevensport. Supply limit of 55,000 men. Wow. Lord Walder of the White Star has inherited the Lordship of the White Star. Another title from Lord John. I think Walder Rosehart is a bit of a badass, isn't he? That's the father of Roderick Rosehart and John Rosehart, who are also pretty badass. They've had their own sons as well. Awesome. Died from too much drinking, but we now have a more legendary, typical Rosehart in charge, which is nice. We need a new Lord Treasurer. Do we have anyone? Any good? Not really. Like, no decent treasurers at all. But Lord Fenn, he's a loyalist. I suppose we can get him on the council. Why not? Let's collect taxes in Sevensport. Any more Lannister hosts around? Not really. Not really. Reynard of Castle Kerwin died of gonorrhea. Lady Sybil Kerwin now, whose son are Greyfort, who I think owned something at some point, didn't they? Your Grace, news from Castle Rock, blah 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 blah. Was imprisoned by King Jaime Lannister. Okay. Darkling. Okay, he's been sent to the Night's Watch by the looks of it. They are bringing a lot of manpower north, which is a bit of a worry, if I'm honest. Aegon of Riverrun Peasant Revolt. That's good. Keeps them busy down south. The King is... Where are they retreating to? Are they retreating to... Lord Winton, the Imperious, has inherited Castle of Drunkard's Tower from Willis Folman. Okay. Are they actually going to march south instead? That works perfectly in my favour. Who have we got leading this? Damwell, Brandon Stark, and... Let's get Belmont in there. Let's try and catch them at Sevenstar. Looks like the king has now left that host. So they're marching down from there. No idea why they're doing that. Seems a bit of a silly thing to do. Do you know what? Let's march this Men of Turnbridge into Riverrun, because some of that is north of the Red Fork. Maybe we should take Riverrun, but then it's one of those annoying ones where it's then going to be split like High Oak, and then it makes you want to take these, which I don't really want to do, so maybe we shouldn't take. I think there might be a small river that breaks. Oh, no, there isn't. It's a shame that we can't take half of Riverrun. But then again, if we did take it, we could maybe take it. And then catch up with those, hopefully. But if we can just get a bit of siege score from taking Riverrun, it might help. I believe that one of your vassals can be discouraged from associating with factions. We will do nothing for now. Let's ask politely and see what we can do there. Winston Firehand must be getting quite old now. He's been around for an awful long time. Lannisters brought down their peasant revolt pretty quickly then. Yeah, if we can siege Riverrun down. And yeah, she's not going to go for that. Okay, fair enough. Give us a bit of siege score. We might need that tiny bit of siege score just to win the war. $6,000 men there. Where are they going to go? Let's battle them in Whitford, and then we can let that army march south, let the attrition get to them, and then we'll finish them off when they actually arrive here. Riverrun. It's not actually as strong as it is later on in other bookmarks, so that's a bonus. Maybe we could siege Darry with this host. I don't really want to be crossing men over. The scribes and coinmaster of the Bank of the Crown have put together a bank accounts for the past few years and are ready to present their findings to the various key holders and shareholders. Several people who own debts, many people who own debts actually. Anyone from our realm, the Morgoths of Warriors Watch owe money, the Racks owe money. I'm guessing they've both taken out loans then for Willis Folman as well. Okay. I'm guessing they've both borrowed money for their war, the little war that they've got going on at the moment. Let's... No, we'll just take this one siege for now. We'll just do this one siege. We're going to have a battle in Whitford, which will hopefully give us a bit more war score as well. Should be a very easy battle. There we go. It gives us to 82%. Do we chase that host down? No, we'll just leave this host in Sevenstar. Donico Shycross died of severe stress at the age of 31. I'm going to be able to siege this time. I'm not going to be able to assault. Oh, we could assault. It's only 1,000 men. No, we'll let it grind down. Why waste the manpower? We might need it again in the future. Don't want to waste manpower when victory is pretty much all but ours anyway. Let's march these 16,000 north to the Crossfort. Take care of that small host there. Why not? Wherever it is they may be going. And we've had another son. A son was born to High King Florian the Eagle. Oh, he was stillborn. Great. Absolutely fantastic. Doesn't really matter what name we give him now then, does it? What names have we already got for our sons? Owen, Lister, Enger. I think we had a... Do we not have a Benfrey? No. Don't really want to give it a name. Let's give it a random name of an ancestor. One that we don't want to use. Let's go for a Lionel. Yeah, why not? Words fail me. We have gained the depressed trait. Well, that sucks. I think that's the first child that Florian's actually lost. It really sucks. We normally get a lot of stillborns, don't we, with our Sevenstar, so... There isn't any other host really up here, is there? No. Lord Houston the Rash has declared the Shield Isles War for Lord Gwain's claim on the Reach. So the Fossilways are now trying to claim the Reach. And a lot of the major houses down there still seem to worship the old gods, which is interesting. Let's now assault Riverrun. That should be down enough that we can win that. Perfect. Takes us up to 87. Let's take this land. Is that owned by the Rosbys? Which is interesting. I think that must be the war that was just happening. We've now got the Rosbys there. Do the Brackens not exist anymore? Not a clue. But we'll siege down some of those lands if we can win that battle here where the king is. The king is here. Let's get Danes, Brandon Stark, and Lord Guymud in charge of this. Then get some decent commanders and see what we can do. Captain Roman of the Generous accepted Lord Paramount Robert's peace offer. So the Stormlands are succeeding in whatever they're doing. The old Errand Stars. Let's... I thought I told you to march to Stonehenge. That's Southstone, sorry. Stonehenge. Shall we march you instead then? Yeah, we'll march you where we were going to march you anyway. It's going to be a great victory. Easy victory. Crush. It's a shame that I don't think we'll capture the king, unfortunately. Good if we could, just to end this war. Enemy commander slain in the case of battle. My men cornered Quentin, whoever he is, and killed him. And we have victory there. 91%. Will he be willing to accept our peace offer yet? Not yet. Still got 18,000 here. There's no armies, I don't think, to worry about. The Riswells are up to something, though. What are the Riswells, the kings in the north, up to? Well, the kings of what remains of the north. Defending against Brandon of the last... Oh, just a peasant revolt. Fair enough. Let's march this host back south. Let's go to Leicester. Which is how a lot of people say, pronounce the name of my city, Leicester. Leicester. Right, let's forward, get our men into position, get these sieges underway, and that should give us victory. We'll just take these ones on this side of the Red Fork. Byron Green Star had something removed from his treasury. He was killed under suspicious circumstances. Laura Coldwater died a natural death at the age of 79. Still no one to beat Lister the Loyal at 85, I don't believe. Still the current record. Who knows, maybe Enger the Planter could beat it, which I wouldn't mind too much. I like Enger Seymour. He's been a great character. How much do we need to assault this? Oh, easy assault. Your grace are right to express my consternation at the fact that Sir Brendan actually controls commands of your armies when I don't. You're not really a commander, but yeah, I'll let you do it because I don't even know who the other guy is. I don't remember even putting him in control of any armies. Kyra Sevenstar died a natural death at the age of 64. Kyra Sevenstar, married to Sir Arnold the Evil. Ah, yes, I remember you. The mother of Lord Danes. 99%. So we literally just need one more siege, one more battle, anything like that. And there we go, 100%, finally. Offer peace, end forced demands. The Lannisters' claim on High Oak has failed. We're over our vassal limit. Whoa, what's going on? What's going on here? I don't want all of this land. I do not want all of this land. Why have we just gained all this land? I don't want this. Well, we're going to have to do something about all of this, aren't we? We've just gained all of the Riverlands pretty much. We'll make those independent, I guess. Can we grant independence to some of these people? Because I don't want them as part of our land. We've like just freed all of the Riverland. I'm gonna have to do something about this because I don't want them as part of our realm. Let's wait for the war to end properly. I don't know why we've just gained all the Riverlands. Not a clue, but I don't want it. I don't want it. I never have. So, let's wait for the war to end properly so that we can disband all of our troops without losing them. And then we need to sort everything out here south of the Red Fort we don't want. So we're going to have to do something about all of this land. Open gates. Has the sickness passed yet? Yes, it has, so we can open our gates now. War still going on there in the Warrior's Way. Disband the fleet. There we go. The war has been over. Right, so we've got a lot of stuff now that we need to sort out here. So I don't want any of this. I do not want any of this. Can we grant you independence? I don't think we can by the looks of it, which is really annoying because I don't want any of this land. We'll probably keep River Run, but I don't want any of the rest. Ah, grant independence. You'll be dutifully grateful. There we go, so they're independent. Looks like we've still got a lot of his land. Ah, okay, so we're in some sort of alliance. Okay, that's fine. Can we grant you independence? No, why can we only grant some independence? Grant landed title. Is there like certain high lordships that we're going to be able to make here as well then? We've got the God's Fort here. I may actually do this bit by bit because then we can change some of these houses into more interesting houses. We've got a load of 7-star things here. Are these things that I've inherited? I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. Or if I got to transfer the vassalage over to him. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going on here. So I do need to give away a lot of this land. Can we grant you independence? I'm gonna grant a lot of these independence so that they go back to how they were. So I think we might have to end this episode very short at some point so that I can somehow do that because it needs to be done. I've got a Rosby here. Can we grant you independence? You've got all your lands here. Can we not grant you independence? He's not a Faith of the Seven de jure vassal, but he is Faith of the Seven. It's not okay. Okay, I understand. Okay, what about you? Who are you down here? No idea who you are. We can't grant you independence either. This is going to be very frustrating. Now, we can grant independence to the God Fort, so that's okay. So we'll do that. There we go. Make loads of little independent lands throughout the Riverlands. See what happens there. Are they going to swallow each other up into a Riverland kingdom or somebody else swallow them up? Who knows? But I do want to get them all independent and not part of our land. We've given them their freedom from the south. Who are you? Can we grant you independence? No, most of them we can't. This is really frustrating. I think we will keep River Run, though. We will keep these. Oh, no, we can actually grant you independence. That's typical, because I actually want that land. That it's going to allow me to do that. Because, of course, it is. Who are you? Can we grant you independence? No, we cannot. Green Fort? Great Fort? Can we grant you independence? No, we cannot. Surprised that we've still actually got the Darklings in Duskendale, which is interesting. But we can't grant you independence, which is annoying. I'm going to have to look at it offline, aren't I, off screen. But it's going to be interesting to see what does happen here now. Will the South decide to start splitting up? I will sort this offline so that we can make these independent. We don't want them as part of Andalia. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. As always, I apologise it's quite a short episode, but we need to do something about that. I hope you enjoyed still, and hopefully I'll see you all very soon for the next episode of the Knights of Andalia.
A kingdom for a son. A son. That was the price that he had paid for this war. Years had he waited for the lions to finally bare their claws against Andalia, and when they did, he had clipped them, breaking their once unchallenged dominance over the south. While the lions had crossed the Red Fork, they had been swept back, and now the seven-pointed star of Sevenstar was seen across far more castles in the south. But every victory had a price. Men and gold had always been the realities of war, and prices he had always paid without hesitation. But now it had cost him a son, his son. But there had been that old saying that all has an equal price, and it seemed that the gods deemed to twist fate in his favour, for the Lannisters had finally surrendered and left him to enjoy his victory. Andalia had reached a new zenith, one that his forefathers may have dreamt of but never been able to envision or accomplish. Yet he had, achieving a triumph unheard of in the annals of the histories of Westeros. And now all that he felt was a strange emptiness, not those of triumph or glory, rather just sorrow. A sudden voice broke him from his solemn thoughts as a guard approached him, Lord Darkling is here, as you requested." Florian made a motion that the Lord should be brought to him. Extending his reach that far down south was a danger. He knew, and so he had found a different solution, one that would suit all involved and please them equally. He had chosen everything about his appearance and character perfectly for this meeting. Rather than the throne room, he had elected for the gardens of the new keep. He would talk with his lowly lord wherever he wished, yet what he wore still resembled a king, the Sevenstar colours adorning his clothing and the crown resting firmly atop his head, and on his knees rested Mother's Mercy, the grip tight in one hand and a whetstone in his other. It was really not necessary with the blade, yet it gave an image that the Lord of Duskendale would not so easily forget. A fat Lord Darkling entered the gardens, quickly kneeling before the king. "Your Grace, I have long been looking forward to this meeting. The tales of your victories have spread far and wide, and I am truly humbled that you have invited me." Florian made no motion for the Lord to stand, as he himself did, raising Mother's Mercy, the sunlight reflecting brilliantly off the blade. "I have beaten the Lannisters and their vassals, of which you are one. I intend to break their grip over the south, and you are a central piece of that plan, Lord Darkling." The fat Lord Walter looked up, his chins wobbling slightly. I am? Indeed. I have decided to be generous. The rivers and hills now fall under my domain, and I have made the choice to restore the Dusklands, where you will rule the lands beneath the Red Fork down until Duskendale. You grant me loyalty and an alliance, and I grant you a crown, along with a bond between our houses. Your heir will marry one of my daughters to cement this alliance. The Lord was left flabbergasted for a moment before breaking out into a stuttered word. You have my eternal thanks, your Grace, how will I... However, be of no illusion, Florian suddenly exclaimed and lowered Mother's Mercy before Walter. I grant you this crown by my mercy, not the Lannisters, not the gods. No, by none of them will you be king, only by my grace, by my generosity, and I easily as I have given it... The blade turned in his fingers as his voice grew more vicious with each syllable that left his lips, as easy as I can take it away. And I shall, if I hear even a mere whisper, a mere rumour of your disloyalty, a single letter sent to Casterly Rock, be it your wife congratulating her brother on his name day, I will do as my ancestors once did and burn Duskendale, bringing your head back on a spike. Have no illusions about your kingship, Lord Walter." The newly made king remained silent for a few moments. Of course, your Grace." "Good. Then you are dismissed. Leave at once," he commanded the Lord, as he rose with a light struggle and shuffled away from the gardens. None would ever dare defy his kingship ever again, or he would make an example of them, one that none could ever forget.